Welcome to a new episode of the Wrestling Retrospective podcast. I'm your host, Ernest EJ Christian. If you're watching the show on YouTube, on YouTube page at youtube.com/Ernest Christian, you can see the background here. Of course, it's the overlay. It's the original TV guide promo for what we're watching tonight of Sunday's main event, and it disappears as DJ and Rob come up. Sorry, DJ and Rob. I know you guys are like staring at Liz there and Hogan and King Haku. Fellas, what's up, man? Happy December, number one.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm well.
Hey.
DJ, how you doing, buddy? How's your... You had to go to the dentist a couple days ago.
Oh, God, man. Yeah, I bit into a burger on Monday. I had a bacon cheeseburger from Burger King, and I bit into it, and I'd already had like a small cavity on that side that I was in the queue to get fixed. And when I bit down on the bacon, I guess it just got in there the right way, and I felt like this crunch and this stab in my gum, and I'm like, shit. And went to the dentist. Sure enough, they're like, "Yep, it's a root canal." And $1,700 later, here we are.
Oh,
yeah, right
God.
for the holidays. Thank you.
What's worse, the actual the money it costs you to do the shit, or the actual operation itself?
The money. I mean, the procedure itself was not fun. It wasn't easy. I'm not real good with the dentist, but if he did it for free, I'd do it.
I hate the dentist. I
hate $1,700 hurts worse than the procedure did.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Anyway, we are doing yet another watch along. We are trying to get through the 1988 Saturday Night Main Events shows. We got two more left. One more we're doing tonight, and then we have a November one coming up. We'll do probably hopefully before the end of this month, before the end of this year. We're in the last month of the year, of course. It is Saturday Night's Main Event from October 1988. This one took place on October 25th from Baltimore, Maryland, at the Baltimore Arena. And it aired 4 days later, October 29th, 88. The event was, of course, obviously on NBC, drew an 8.7 rating. Before we get started, Rob, obviously you live in the area. I'm assuming were you at the show?
That's. No, I was not. But actually, I didn't. Well, I still live in PG County in 1988. That's where I grew up. So that's about an hour away from Baltimore. I live about 20 minutes outside of Baltimore now. So, and the Baltimore Arena is where basically most of the wrestling shows around here happen. So I go there all the time now.
So it still exists now.
Oh yeah, it's changed names a couple of times. It just got renovated. But that is a great building to go see a wrestling show. And Baltimore has been a wonderful wrestling city for a long time. And just between from old Jim Crockett NWA stuff to WWF.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, does WCW have a history there too? Also, yeah, I imagine.
Oh yeah, man. In fact, I went in June of 1990. I went to the Great American Bash, and I saw Sting. I saw Sting defeat Ric Flair for the NWA World Championship.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
What a cool moment.
We should do a watch along on that match one day. Just for funsies. Just to
look at the crowd so we can find little Rob Bonnette.
Yeah. I want to at some point one of my goals next year on this podcast. I want to start doing more WCW material, and not just like 96, 98 when Hogan and the NWO stuff. I told you guys off the record too. I'm very fascinated with WCW circa 1990 to 1993. Honestly, I feel like the talent pool there was amazing.
There were some really good matches. We've kind of done WCW dirty on the Mindless Wrestling podcast because we found their worst matches and made fun of them in watch-alongs. But we did watch a really good work rate match. What was that, Rob? The tag team championship match. It was Steve Austin and Shane Douglas.
It was the Hollywood Blondes, and it was like against Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas, I think.
Yeah, and it was some solid in-ring work.
By the way, Hollywood. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, just pre-knee injuries, Steve Austin is something, man.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you mentioned Hollywood Blondes. Low key, really cool theme song too, for the record. Love that theme song. I like that theme song a lot, actually. So anyway, back to Senate Main Event, of course. Go ahead. Before you go. Go ahead.
One more match on that show in Baltimore where Sting won the title. Might have been maybe the best straight up tag team match ever. It was Midnight Express against the Southern Boys. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that is worth your watching any day.
So you know what? We'll do. You know what, brother?
Weekend.
We'll do watch along on that one day next year.
Okay.
Just for fun. Just for fun. To get into the Rob capsule here. 1990 when I was 10 years old. And he was 17, 18 at that point? No, 16.
I was 16.
16, right? Yeah.
16,
Yeah, you got 700 minutes, right?
16. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we're gonna watch 5 matches here. DJ, you'll love this one. First match is going to be Jake Roberts with Cheryl Roberts in his corner versus Ravishing Rick Rude with Bobby Heenan.
Oh, so this will be fun.
This is the blow off here, of course. The blow off.
Oh yeah.
And you'll see some major things happen in the show with this match. Tag champion line between Demolition Access match with Mr. Fuji, and Jimmy Hart, who just defected the Hart Foundation at this point now, versus the Hart Foundation of Jim Neidhart and Bret Hart. We have Hulk Hogan with Miss Liz in his corner. Forget that. Against Haku with Bobby Heenan, or King Haku rather. At this point, he's the king of wrestling at this point. Dino Bravo with Frenchy Martin in his corner against Ken Pantera, and the Big Boss Man who actually debuted at SummerSlam this year. We're actually post SummerSlam '88 now. At this point now, Big Boss Man with Slick, the greatest, most underrated manager in the history of wrestling, against Jim Powers. For you folks now watching this or listening on the podcast, if you want to pause real quick, this is Saturday Main Event October '88. But on Peacock, of course, it's season 4, episode 5. Sunday's Main Event, of course. If you need a pause before we get started to catch up with us, we'll just do that. Otherwise, if you're ready to go, we'll get started. Fellas, ready to go?
Ready when you are.
All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And there's Jake and Cheryl Roberts making out. By the way, they got divorced, I think, about 2 years after this. I told you guys in a text a couple days ago, they're back together.
Yeah.
I like hearing that.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. You know, I've always rooted for Jake, and I know Jake went through his Jake fought his demons, and he's been up, he's been down. But I like the Hollywood ending. I like hearing that people got their life together, and if he has figured out a way to reconcile things with his wife and they're happy.
Oh, sorry. God.
Oh,
yeah. This is My God, Vince was on one during this little feud.
Look, my dad was shoot hot at Ravishing Rick Rude.
You said this on your podcast when you talk about how you get shoot hot about this feud. By the way, and we'll do this one day, probably next year. Top 10 all-time heels all time. I don't know if I'm going to WWE or all-time wrestling heels. He's my top 10. No, you know right now.
Rick Rude? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. My top 10.
He was so good.
Yeah. But no. Continue, DJ. You were saying about what I don't get that. Why wouldn't you like this story? Because I would consider this a happy ending. I would assume.
What do you mean? No, I like it. I'm here for it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no. I like that Jake has gotten his life together and seemingly healthy and happy. And if he got back together with his wife, I think that's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah. By the way, Hart Foundation now at this point are now baby faces now with Jimmy Hart and breaking up over the summer. So Demolition is the tag champs. You see Jimmy Hart, of course, for the time being, trolling the foundation with Mr. Fuji. Of course, a month later, Demolition will turn face as Fuji and Demolition split up.
This is when Vince was throwing some crazy stuff at the wall. 88 to 90 is some wild WWE time.
Well, we mentioned that too also in the last watch long we did. Like, remember we were saying how 88 was a transitional year, and you start seeing the roster change in terms of how storylines change and a little more adult themed, a little more less cartoony, a little more adult themed. Obviously, Rick Rude's crotch with Cheryl Roberts face on there is obviously a big, massive direction to go in.
Right.
Censored.
Well, yeah. Here it is.
I'm sorry. The DDT is still one of my favorite moves of all time.
Oh, yes. One all-time top 5 finisher.
Oh, yeah. We all horsed around as kids. We all wanted the DDT. Nobody wanted the leg drop. Nobody cared about the elbow drop. It was the DDT. Big ol' Andre.
Yep. And there's Mega Powers. And of course,
look at they are hyping up the eventual thing with those two, just putting Hogan and Liz hugging in the promo.
Yep.
God,
that was SummerSlam for the record too. That hugging.
Yep.
Yeah.
So slowly you're seeing the dissension of the regular power. Slowly, you're not there. You're still a couple months away from there, but slowly but surely. By the way, Rob, this is also, I believe, a week before the election of '88.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dukakis against Bush. Because I think Jesse mentions it here too, also on audio.
Kind of weird seeing Jesse in like a suit and a tie and a fedora.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Wow, Washington 10-0 against Oregon. Interesting. Yeah, I have my sub here watching the main event, but also have on the Pac-12 championship right now between Oregon and Washington. So big college football fan here, of course. As we're going to find out on Sunday the Final Four for the national championship. The four teams they'll get in on Sunday. Vince, let's look back there, of course. Nice hat there, Jesse, by the way.
Yeah, I like a nice fedora.
Yes, me too. Now this is the build up here between Rude and Sean Roberts. One of the things I didn't like about this feud though, and I love the feud, I felt there was more juice to squeeze on this thing. But of course, as you'll see later on in this match, why they transitioned this, because it ended up being even a bigger feud for this for Jake. By the way, I remember Jesse saying this when Jake comes out here to save Cheryl. He looked like a drunken sailor.
Yeah.
Look at this shit. This was I would argue, after the Mega Powers, the best feud of '88.
Oh, this one? And in WWF, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Rick Rude had so much heat. I sometimes imagine what kind of program he and Hogan would have had if he had stuck around.
He's a guy that I could never be a baby face.
Rude?
No, there's no way. You're not getting a baby face out of that guy.
Yeah. And there's Jake just runs the ring and goes after him. Yeah,
and there it is.
Oh,
wow. Was he really naked here, or was he just? I always wondered if he was naked here, or is he wearing something under that?
I'm gonna assume he had something under that.
Okay, I look at Bobby.
Yeah.
See, Paul Heyman wouldn't do that.
Well, yeah, because
jumped by Bobby. Oh my God, Jesus.
Yeah, because Paul Heyman. He takes the occasional bump, but nobody took him like Bobby did.
No, Bobby was a worker before anything else.
Yeah.
Fucking Rick Rude gyrating on the fucking shoulder's crotch. I'm sorry. I thought this is great. This is great television. This is such a great storyline. And Rude has only been here like a year at this point now.
Yeah,
you definitely tell Vince had him earmarked for something more. I don't know what happened.
Well, maybe I see champion less than a year later.
Yeah, because actually, I think there was. Oh, I think you know what happened. Well, there was a video somebody showed once on Twitter. Like he and Hogan were in a match, and like Rude fucked up really bad. It's something I forgot what it was. But it was one of those kind of dude, what the hell are you doing kind of things. So it's very possible that happened, and Hogan was just like, no.
Yeah, I'm not working this guy.
I could have saw a Hogan Rude feud. That'd been cool.
Oh, it would have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been an incredible feud had they had the chemistry, had they been able to work together. I think it would have been really good. I think especially, Rude's a guy that'll go out there and bump for the guys that are bigger than him. And I can imagine him just bumping all night long for Hogan.
Rude's a great worker in general. I mean, look at the shit did Warrior. He put Warrior over like $1 million.
Great match.
That Warrior. Yeah, go ahead.
No, he had, like I said, he made the Warrior look like $1 million. He had great matches. Of course, who couldn't with Ricky Steamboat? His feud with Ricky Steamboat in WCW was really good.
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit of that. Couple matches there. And yeah, fantastic. So in 1991, right? 91, 90-ish?
Yeah.
Right. Because he left WWE right after SummerSlam 90.
Yeah, Rob and I have talked about this on our podcast. When you mention a guy like Ravishing Rick Rude, it feels like the guy was in WWE for years. Like when you think of everything he did, all the major stuff he was a part of, and in reality, he was there, 2 years tops?
Maybe he was there 3 years. 3 years.
3, yep.
3 total years. So in the grand scheme of things, not that long. But it feels like when you mention Ravishing Rick Rude that he was there forever.
Because he was in he was immediately had a lot of impact from the word go. He was immediately on the the fast train to being one of the top stars in that company.
Right.
And Jake at this point now,
absolutely no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah, she was.
At least Liz was a little bit more. You could invest more in her. And, Cheryl Robinson's attractive, but there's just no sizzle.
She looks like the chick from the White Snake video. What's her name again?
Tawny
Kitaen, yeah.
Let's see, I'm just the opposite. I liked her better than Liz.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
A little shocked. What, like, it looks-wise or just...
Oh, yeah. No, look.
You like that trashy stuff. You like the kind of like the.
No, look.
Rob's telling on himself, ain't he?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Rob. Rob, give me your top 10, Rob.
No, look.
My number one is Baby Doll.
No. Now my number now for as far as '80s wrestling women, number one is Missy Hyatt all day, every day.
Oh, yeah, Missy Hyatt, that's right. Not Baby Doll, Missy Hyatt. That is correct.
Yeah, look, man.
Rob is a type. We know Rob is a type, obviously.
Well, when it comes to a certain ethnic group, yes. Okay. Yeah.
He likes his white women to look a little trashy.
No. I mean, I'm talking just no, but I mean, in terms of certain hair color and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Missy Hyatt and the 14-time women's champion, and
he loves his blondes.
Yeah. What can I say?
Okay. I love this feud because these guys start this match with fire.
Yes,
like,
you saw
this. Yeah. This feels like a fight.
Yes, so you see. So when Jake's coming out there, you see Rude just gyrating and he's always wearing the tights, and you see Jake just pissed off walking through the ring, and Rude keeps trolling, and then Jake just fires into the ring, and they lock up immediately. It was fantastic.
One thing Jake was always good at was body language, man. Jake could, he's doing a simple wrist lock here, and he looks like he's about to tear his arm out of the socket.
I've always enjoyed his matches. You talk about he's not as good as Bret Hart technically, but he has some of the Bret Hart instincts as a wrestler. Like he knows how to make a wrist lock in a headlock, look like impactful, in other words.
Right. And like you said, with Jake with the body language, Jake with the facial expressions.
Yes.
No matter whether he's heel or babyface, Jake made you feel whatever was going on in his head.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. I love that short close. Oh, he missed it. And Rick Rude counters. Yeah, Cheryl
had awesome chemistry.
Yeah, they did. They really did. I wish this went a little longer. A lot of folks hate their Mania 4 match because remember, and then a double not DQ. Time expired. No, time expired.
Time expired. Yeah.
Right. And people booing. Remember, you hear boos in the arena at Trump Plaza because the match went too long. But I liked the match, honestly. I liked it. Two really good workers.
I don't mind a match that goes more than 15, 20 minutes, as long as the guys have good chemistry and as long as they don't blow the wad in the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
I like a match that simmers. If it's going to be long, I like it to simmer early on, start to pick up in the middle, and then cook at the end.
Yeah, all she's doing is shaking her head. That's it. She's not. Yeah, the charisma thing, nothing there really. At least Liz smiled. Liz clapped. Just she just showed some emotion. Don't tell Rob that though. Rob loves some Cheryl Roberts.
Honestly, it's because Jake was like my favorite WWF wrestler at the time. So,
yeah.
So basically, it was by association.
Yeah. Like growing up as a kid, I hated Rick Rude because you're supposed to. Now I know. Obviously, look back now, Rick Rude's one of my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time.
Yeah. I say that about Ted DiBiase. I absolutely hated Ted DiBiase for all the reasons you're supposed to. Yep. Mm-hmm. I look at that guy much differently as a grown man. He was so damn good.
Mm-hmm. Like their heel, the set of heels they had in '88 was pretty stacked. You thought, even though Andre was on his last legs, Andre's still a massive, great heel. Rude. You had who else? Big Boss Man at this point now was getting over now.
Yeah.
Fast tracked. They had a really, really good heels at this time.
And they had more on the way. I mean, for what it was worth, Earthquake was amazing.
Yeah. Perfect debut around this time too also.
Perfect.
Yeah. Look, she slaps Rick Rude and has no expression, nothing. Just stares there. Rob, go get your girl, man.
No. Look, I'm agreeing with you guys. Yeah, this is not good. Yeah, this is yeah.
Is that Joey Marela?
Clearly, she did not want to be there. She did not.
I think he probably remembered this much differently at 16.
This is true. So Cheryl Roberts gets ejected.
For what exactly?
Snapping, you can't slap the wrestler like that, buddy.
Oh, okay. Come on, see, she's not. I mean, she's not being all. I was like, she's not acting all angry or anything.
Yeah, there's just no emotion.
Vince is in the back on the headset going, "Get her out of there, pal."
Probably, yeah. Probably, yeah. Because that just wasn't working.
Yeah, these guys are fantastic chemistry together.
They didn't have so good to watch.
And they didn't have a match on SummerSlam. It was just
no. That's what got me. They might have done some house shows together. Obviously,
because I guess they were just saving it for the house shows.
But TV wise, they only wrestle at WrestleMania 4 and in here. That's it.
Yeah.
That's like I'm saying about the whole juice and squeeze thing. There's a lot more to squeeze there.
Well, now I guess, but of course back then, I mean, the business was the house show, so
yeah, of course.
So,
looking back in hindsight, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you wanted to save it for that.
Of course, you'll see it in this match why they transitioned out of this feud to another one. You'll see. This crowd's kind of hype. Well, kind of hype also too. Like you don't really see anything, but you put your volume, you hear the crowds into this feud.
One thing I always liked about Jake, aside from everything else, he had good snap punches.
Yeah, he did. Sure did.
Yeah. His snap punches always looked really good.
Bobby Heenan, of course.
Took that backdrop earlier, and he went all the way over, landed square on his ass. He took that second one a little bit more gentle.
Mm-hmm. DDT? Nope. Countered.
Oh.
Very nice.
Rude's elbows are sick, too. His elbows here, pretty sick.
Yeah, I like this. This elbow drop he does.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
This is hysterical. Watch this. I love this movie. He does all the time. He does all his matches. Go on top rope. Pop the guy, and then... No, that's not it, man. He didn't do it yet. No. He'll go and kiss the camera.
Oh.
I love that shit. Hysterical.
Talk about a guy who understood the assignment.
Yes.
Rick Rude got it, man. They gave him something. They said, "Here, do this," and he just took it and ran.
It shocks me that he, for whatever reason, I don't know, it was Vince's call or he decided to leave because of money, but Rude wasn't there beyond 1990. That guy was incredible. I never understood why that ever, he didn't stay.
Well, he was there for 3 years. He got one title reign with the IC Championship, and it lasted, 4 months?
Yeah.
He won it at WrestleMania and lost it at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Bam. Good night. TDT.
Yep. Look at Bobby. Get down here.
Oh, nice.
You got to call him back up.
Bobby's like... What about Bobby, man? Bobby gets his hand dirty, too.
Oh, yeah. There goes Andre.
Yep, there's Andre. And then, course, we know what happens next. Bobby had no problem getting his hand dirty whatsoever. Bobby's like, okay, no, don't worry about that. And there it is. Boom. Thus the start of a new feud. Damn headbutt. Jesus. I told you about that headbutt. That headbutt hurts watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a hot crowd, though, definitely, for this feud.
Yeah, it's a good crowd, too. You're looking out there, 88. This is peak stuff before the wave starts to crest. I'd say by about 90, 91, the wave is crested, and we're heading into what ends up being the doldrum years.
I would argue that the downside started happening earlier than that. I'll say 91 was still part of the downside, honestly. And there, so the comments are here too. You heard Jesse talking about like, oh, Damien's gonna get squashed by Andre, and then he changes like, oh, wait a second, no.
Andre's terrified.
Yep.
This was great work on Andre's part too.
Oh yeah, underrated
Andre's
is
totally
Andre selling
putting this over, man.
Yes, absolutely. Andre selling this, absolutely amazing. No, Bobby, no, Bobby, no.
This was just hilarious.
Andre did a fantastic job selling this.
Yeah.
No. Now, Jake on his podcast said that Andre was not scared of Cynics for the record. Was not scared. This is definitely a work.
Yeah, but he worked it so well.
Yes.
Look at Andre's face. He is mortified.
Oh, my God. Yes. The sell job here is amazing. And then
his work with Jake was among some of my favorite of Andre's in the later years.
And
this is why the way he sells this.
And DJ, they got 6 months out of this feud. This is going to WrestleMania 5.
Yeah.
And like heart attack. And they were selling this as though he died or something. He watched.
Rob and I did a watch along here about a month ago. We watched a man get electrocuted, die, and come back to life.
The Chamber of Horrors. Yeah.
Duel of the Butchers got electrocuted, died, and they had to bring him back.
You know what's so fucked up? Even though we know it's fake and scripted, you see him dead, half dead or dead, whatever, and the cameraman's just filming him. Like, oh.
Yep.
Right there.
like there's supposed to be a dead body. A dude had a heart attack in the ring. Let's get a close-up on Andre. Post-heart attack.
Yeah, I can't think of I can't think of a better feud in 88 like than outside the Mega Powers, the whole Mega Power storyline, than Jake Rude or even Jake Andre.
Well, and this is when Vince was really cooking creatively because he really blended from one feud into the next, almost seamlessly.
Yeah,
like this is seamless, and you don't care that there was no real finality to the Rick Rude, Jake Roberts feud because we've just moved into this huge moment with Andre. Andre's laying here dead as Bobby's trying to do CPR on him, and now that's almost like this blood feud between Rick Rude and Jake Roberts is suddenly an afterthought.
And Bobby's selling this too, also.
Yeah,
spitting and shit. Look at this.
Oh, he's drooling everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
As a kid, I believed this shit too. As a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, did he really die?"
Yeah, I mean, because
kind of even trying to get Andre moving.
Yeah, I mean, even knowing that it was a work at that point, it was still funny to see, and it was very convincing.
Absolutely.
Is that Gerald Briscoe down there holding Andre's head?
Let me see. Hold on.
Turn around. I thought that was Gerald Briscoe for a second. I can't. They're not showing him now.
Dude, I can't see.
Yeah.
Wait,
no,
in a gray? No. In a gray jacket? No, none of these guys are. No.
There's Tony Gurria.
You see Tony Gurria? You see him?
Isn't Tony Gurria the guy with the blonde hair, or is that Rene Goulet? Long blonde hair.
I see Pat Patterson right there.
Yeah, there's Pat Patterson.
Wow, they did it's funny. I even as I get older now, I appreciate it more now. The acting of Andre and Bobby here, amazing.
Yeah. Oh,
amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
While we have the Heart Foundation here interviewing with Mean Gene Oakland, what's your guys' thoughts on CM Punk back at WWE?
Boy, we discussed that in great length actually on 2 podcasts Rob and I have in the last week. I'll keep it short and say I think ultimately it's going to be good for them, good for him. I have very long thought process on CM Punk, but to keep it short and sweet, I'm here for it. Let's see what happens.
Yes.
Hey, same here. And, I guess when I have time to explain more of this stuff more at length, they kind of needed it. Well, him coming back is good for them too at this point. I know it's easy to think that, well, he needed them and they didn't need him, but in terms of constantly just adding something new to the equation every couple of months so that you don't get stagnant, they absolutely do benefit from having him back.
Of course, but again, as you and I both said, Rob, even months ago when we talked about the possibility of this happening, we said this on my other podcast, my main podcast, Retrospective podcast, that the reason why this is going to work and would work is because they don't need him. They don't need him.
Yeah, well, now I would say yes and no. Like do they don't need him like AEW needed him, but again, having him come back,
it doesn't hurt.
Well, it adds something to the equation, and because if you're running right now, the biggest concern is that you don't get stagnant, and that's the biggest concern, and that can happen no matter how high you're riding right now. It can happen. It can happen to anybody. And the best way to not have it happen is you got to get out ahead of it. And this is how you get out ahead of it, by bringing him back, like you said, at a time when you don't need him, when you're not desperate for somebody to shake things up. This is how you stay ahead of getting stagnant. And so that's to that end, I would say it is, again, they don't need him. It's not an emergency or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he does have a purpose, and they're not just stacking the deck here by bringing him back. He does have actual purpose being back for them.
And I say this too also, I think the smart thing about them doing this and not waiting to Rumble or waiting to Mania is, and we discussed this too, Rob, on our last podcast, again, on the podcast, this time of year is normally downtime for wrestling as a whole, because unless you're hardcore, some of the casuals, and I bridge between casual and hardcore because, yes, I do follow whatever, but I'm not a guy that watches Raw and SmackDown every single week. I just don't. I don't have time. But at least now you're more interested now in November, December than you would be normally because you're back in the fold. You know what I'm saying? So that's the smart part.
Also, the NFL's in its just about its last month or so of a regular season. So people are really starting to pay attention to their teams. They're really starting to watch now. Yes. And then you've got playoffs coming up in January. Yeah. So that the WWE takes a beating in ratings and viewership between December and January.
Yeah.
I mean, they take a beating in football season anyway, but it gets worse
as the season prolongs. Because not only that, you have college football right now. At its right now, getting close to the playoffs and that, the bowl season, all that. Yep. NFL, as you just mentioned. And I'm someone that, does content on this stuff too, also, in addition. So I'm not as engaged with wrestling between the months of September through, say, December. Now, January, Royal Rumble season, because by the time Royal Rumble comes along, Royal Rumble comes along Conference Championship weekend.
Yeah.
By then, NFL's already peaked out. College football's already done this point. NFL is about to end, So, yeah. But
and,
the fact that they got
something to watch,
right? But the fact they got him to commit and do this in the middle of November, it gives the pro wrestling crowd a little jolt here.
That and because like this year, for example, they're not even. I think the last episode of SmackDown this year is the 15th. Looking at the schedule here, the TV schedule.
Wait, no live. I mean, no live shows. You mean?
Yeah, I mean, so they're doing, and then and then Christmas Day is on a Monday this year. So I think if Raw's either taped or they're just not having it, or they might do like a clip show or something. So
when do they do the tribute for the troops? When don't they do a holiday tribute for the troops?
Oh, they're doing it next week. They're doing it live on TV.
Okay.
Because like in the past they taped it and just threw it up there like on Saturday afternoon or something.
Yeah.
So this year they're doing it live next week. And but where are you guys on the show anyway? About
right now?
Yeah.
I'm watching Bret Hart and Smash go at it.
Okay, because okay.
2907, 2908, 2909.
Okay, because all right, we got 20.
Watching your favorite tag team in the world, Demolition, Mr. Rob.
Yeah, posers. Dirt words.
You sound like a fan. You sound like a fan of theirs.
Look, I'm sorry. Look, I mean, Hawk and Animal were my number one tag team, and
no. Look, if you ask me who I prefer, I'm definitely a Legion of Doom / World Warriors guy. But I think Demolition did its job what it needed to do for that era.
Well, and then the era ended when Vince got the real team. Okay, I mean,
he did Demolition dirty at the end of it all.
Well, combination that axe getting hurt too, also that killed the momentum.
Yeah, but literally, within months of Hawk and Animal coming in, they were getting jobbed out.
I'm gonna bring a segment to this, and Rob, you're familiar with this? We did on my old other wrestling podcast I used to host, heel versus face. I'm gonna start doing episodes of that soon, and I'll tell you, these two tag teams. Don't say anything now, but these two tag teams are two teams that have gone on both sides of the spectrum in terms of like heel or face.
Right.
I'm curious with you guys when we do it in the future. Do you think the Foundation is better heels? Do you think the Demolition is better heels? Because that could be an interesting discussion down the road.
Yeah. No, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I have my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Is that Joey Marela again? Is Joey Marela doing some work tonight? Whoa.
Busy boy tonight.
Yes, he is.
And do y'all know who Joey Morela's dad was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
Gorilla?
right?
Gorilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah.
Remember that was when he died. That was like the first big wrestling death that I remember.
Who, Gorilla or Joey Marela?
Marela.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When he died, and I think it was a car accident. I remember a friend of mine telling me about that because just for whatever reason, I was old enough to know a little bit more of I wasn't inside for sure, but.
You mean Joey Marela?
Yes.
Yeah, Joey died of car. That's correct. Yes, I was going to say Gorilla. The Gorilla died of health issues.
Yeah, no. Gorilla, something else. Joey Marela, car accident.
Correct.
And when he passed, like you said, I knew a little bit more about the business, knew some of the refs' names. And I remember that being like the first big wrestling death that I remembered. I'm like, holy crap. And he was a baby. I mean, the guy was still a kid.
Yes, he was. I think he died in 93 and 94.
Oh, wow.
It was actually very close to this time. It wasn't that far off.
Yeah, it wasn't far from this.
Yeah.
Here comes the hot tag. The Anvil's coming in.
Look up right now, actually, buddy. Joey Marela.
Anvil with a drop kick. He almost got that big ass up.
He died July 4th, 1994 on the New Jersey Turnpike.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Joey Marela died in a car accident at age 31 after he fell asleep at the wheel and crashed into a guardrail and a tree while driving home.
Jesus.
Let me see. Driving home from the New Jersey Turnpike after a night of refereeing matches in Ocean City, Maryland. Here's an interesting part about this whole thing. Bruno Lauer, better known by his nickname as Harry Whippleman, was with him at the time and was quickly injured. He repeatedly asked Marela if he was dead, but never responded. Lauer was wearing a seatbelt while Marela was not. Following his death, the WWF instituted rules that WWF personnel had to check into hotels when working late. Furthermore, they would no longer travel alone, and everyone traveling together had to agree to travel. Of course, Marela is buried next to his father, Gorilla Monsoon, at Lakeview Memorial Park in New Jersey. Images of a baseball player and a golfer were placed on the headstone due to his love of two sports. As a tribute, WWE ring announcer Tony Chimmel named his son after Marela. Marela's sister, Valerie, also named his son after her brother. Wow.
Wow. That's
very
crazy.
Tragic. Very tragic, man.
So this match was just kind of a thing that happened. Demolition won. Rougeos came out, threw in the megaphone. I think Neidhart got smashed with the megaphone, and the Hearts lose the match. It was just kind of a thing. This was not overly exciting.
Yeah.
What's crazy, though, is that the Hearts don't win the tag titles again until 2 years later at the 90s SummerSlam against Demolition.
The Hulkster.
There's the GOAT right there. Certainly the Mount Rushmore. I don't give a shit what he says. But yeah, that was a match. The Rougeos there, of course. By the way, me, huge fan of the Rougeau brothers, for the record.
Oh,
huge fan.
I've gone on the record and said that. I was on another podcast I do with some guys. We're about a year and a half away from this part here. We're doing a watch along of the Big Four pay-per-views. It's actually the Big Four project that we're doing. And we were somewhere in like 1990 when we were talking about the Rougeos. And I said, you know what? Give me the Rougeos versus FTR.
Oh, my God.
That's a hell of a good match. They had excellent ring psychology, excellent tag team work, excellent use of the hot tag.
It's King Haku.
He's standing there all regal. Look at him.
So remember not the last one, but a couple episodes back on this show when we did the March '88 main event and the injury to King Harley Race. We were discussing that. We watched that. So they kind of played that in. That was a real injury. They kind of played that kayfabe into this storyline that Harley Race had to give his crown, and of course King Haku became the king.
Yeah. Don't eventually Haku and Harley Race have a match for the crown?
I thought they did.
They did, yeah.
Yes.
They did.
I thought they did. I thought there was a match for the crown, and Haku beat him, and I think Harley Race was I don't know if that was Harley's last match, but I think he was pretty well cooked after that.
Yeah, he retired very much close to this time also, like a year or two later. Let me look at that real quick. Harley Race. Because unfortunately, if you weren't watching a lot of TV, you didn't really know what was going on at this time. Haku. All right, so maybe some he was a good king, actually. I thought he was
Haku's Tongan, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. He's Tongan. I have to constantly remind myself he's not part of the NOI family.
Right.
No, he's Tongan.
Like him, Barbarian, and Samoa Joe are not are all not part of the family.
Right.
Like those three guys.
Lineage, man. And then
there's a bit of a history with the Tongans, man. They're a family that people don't often talk about because it just gets buried under the Samoan dynasty.
Yeah. And Haku's, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, his sons, the guys in New Japan.
Yeah.
Probably Haku and Harley Race had a lot of history together.
Well, they're both genuine tough guys.
Yeah. And just, you can just go on like YouTube and see different guys doing like shoot interviews about Haku and just all these Haku stories of him just beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, I've heard stories about Haku. Nobody fuck with him.
Yeah.
Nope.
And people always say the same, like, "Oh, he's such a nice man." He
really was though.
Yeah, he's a nice man. But when he gets, when it was time to, when he pissed him off, forget about it.
Well, that's your lesson. Don't cross the dude. Show him respect. Don't be a dick, and he won't mess with you. You don't get beat up if you don't give him a reason to beat you up.
Yeah, because I was watching one a couple of days ago. The Warlord. I think I shared that in one of our chats. And he was talking about him. He's like, yeah, look, when he stopped talking English, then that's when it was time to you might want to get up and leave.
So according to this, apparently it wasn't even Bobby Heenan's choice about this. Apparently Harley Race is the one who suggested that Haku became the king.
Okay.
They're
on
really
paper,
tight,
this should be a good Haas fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
This really should.
Yeah, so when Harley Race came back, they booked the match of Royal Rumble 89, which received Race and Haku battle for the crown. Race was more happy to put Haku over and make him look strong in their match. After Haku defeated Race and himself as King of Wrestling, Harley Race gracefully bowed out and left the company. So yeah, 8. I don't remember that match 8 at Royal Rumble though. Rob,
I don't. I remember that it happened. I don't remember ever watching it though.
Was it like a pre-show match maybe?
No, it was on the show. I remember watching it. So I remember thinking it odd that Harley Race was playing the babyface. Because me growing up, Harley Race was always a heel.
Correct, right. And there's a Hogan.
Holding the ropes.
Yeah. These are all the little seeds here. Yeah. Doing the things Savage does. Well, remember, Savage here too also wasn't doing his normal base anyway.
This prima donna and showboat.
In hindsight today, if this storyline happened today, Hogan would be the heel.
Hogan would be the heel.
It wasn't Hogan was a bad guy doing, here. It's just that Hogan was kind of, overstepping his bounds a little bit.
Yeah, this is a little morally ambiguous is how I would present this here. Because we don't like to think that Hogan's intentions were anything but virtuous, but
yeah. That's my baby, Liz. God, I was in love with her at 8 years old. Oh my God.
Oh, dude.
I'll say it again.
17 years old, we were still in love with her.
I'll say it again. My love for white women started around here. Look at this. Boom! Away we go.
There it is.
Which Hebner is that? Is that the Hebner that he threw out of the ring like 6 months earlier?
Because at this point, like one of them, it's funny because one of them worked in the NWA until they did the Angle, and then after the Angle, they were both working in the WWF.
Yeah.
Which is funny just because why would you hire a guy to work for you as a referee after he did that stunt?
Because we're supposed to forget about it. What happened? Because at this point, we're way past Hogan's title reign. We're way past we're now 6 months into Savage's title reign now currently. And of course, it's pro wrestling, Rob. Nothing makes sense. Come on now.
Yeah, Vince was the king. Vince was the king of. Don't worry, they'll forget about it.
Honestly, we did. And honestly, we did. We now today, with the internet and social media, it's hard to it. But back then, you can do that kind of stuff. Like, what was the storyline that, for example, perfect example, Danny Davis. Remember in '87, he gets fired as a referee because he was cheating for the heels. Okay, he becomes a wrestler for about a year and a half, and then out of nowhere, by '89, he's back to be referee again, and no one gives a fuck, and no one says anything.
Yeah,
right.
Like what the hell? Like there was no transition. As far as I know, there was no transition. There was no storyline that and there's heel Hogan there, by the way. There was no like storyline, no apologies, nothing. They this random referee again.
Suddenly he's trustworthy again as a referee.
Yeah.
I was like, they did something. We had Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown was what he was, and he was a great character, great bad guy. Mm-hmm. And then he was gone from the company. And then like 2 years later, he's in there as a job guy under a different name. It didn't last long. He was only there for he did like a couple of job matches, and that was it under like a different name. but it was clearly Bad News Brown.
Which company was this?
WWF. I remember specifically. Well, I don't know who he was wrestling. He was wrestling in a tag match. It was him and another job guy. They were wrestling somebody, and I looked at him. I'm like, "That's fucking Bad News Brown."
Really?
He was in there under a different name.
Is this before he became Bad News Brown, the big
This
heel?
is after he left the company as Bad News Brown. He peaked as Bad News Brown. He left. He came back like a year or so later and did a couple of job matches for WWE under a completely different name.
Wow, I didn't know that because he was gone by SummerSlam 90.
Yes. And this would have been probably around 92, 93, somewhere around in there.
Really?
I only saw him once, maybe twice, but he was definitely, because I remember specifically going, that's fucking Bad News Brown. What are they doing? That was a great kick to the jaw.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That's one thing Hogan would do. If Hogan respected you, he would take it. I remember one heel Hogan, NWO Hogan versus Sting. Sting hit him with a drop kick, and Hogan took it full on in the face. Like some guys will put their hands up. Some guys will, kind of, nope. Hogan stood right there. It was a picture perfect drop kick too. Sting got him right in the chin.
Bobby, you trolling him.
See, look at Liz. She's out here. She's emoting. Yeah. She's being part of the story.
Yeah, Rob. See, Rob, that's a woman. That's a valet. That's Cheryl Roberts.
Well, I didn't look. Okay, that was 1988. Okay. All right, that was 1988.
You see that having there? Hogan threw Bobby into Haku.
Bobby Heenan in the way.
Here's this Hogan. Now watch Hogan's dumbass. Watch this. Takes the crown, put on his head.
This idiot.
He's an entertainer, dude. He's an entertainer.
Yeah, he is. And they ate it. Look at this, people. They're eating it up.
Yeah. All right. I'll put it back. Bobby gets hurt. Bobby's gone. Now, the Mega Powers, we lead up to, months and months and months before we get to the main event, February of '89.
Yeah.
Jesse is the one that's putting the little feelers here and there. In this match, you hear Jesse say little things here and there. Why would Hogan hold Liz on his shoulder? Why would Hogan? Interesting. Why would Hogan open the ropes for Liz? A little peculiar. Words of that nature. Like nothing obvious, but just a little bit of feelers.
Yeah, little nuggets here and there, and that's
brilliant storytelling. So, by the way, Rob, I meant to tell you, I tagged you. This is off topic. I tagged someone on Facebook earlier. Did you see that when I tagged you in?
Yeah, and that's
because you discussed it on X earlier. This is not even wrestling related, but you might actually you'll be into this actually DJ. So Lenny Kravitz had said something to the effect of that, like basically saying that he never felt celebrated by black media because he does mainly rock music.
Yeah. Okay.
So this some clown on Facebook had a reaction to this. I'm gonna read real quick here. So it's a black woman here by the name of Ann Brock, and she says, "So Lenny Kravitz says he hasn't been celebrated by black media. And he's not feeling it. Maybe that's because he chose his lane in his career of being a pop entertainer or a black entertainer. Why should black media celebrate him? His music was never targeted towards black folks. He's always had a MTV Top 40 audience. Lenny, don't blame the black community because you were always marketed to white people. I've always thought Lenny Kravitz was rock music. The only thing black I knew about him was his mother and Lisa Bonet. Motherfucker, black folks are not a fucking monolith. Okay, I'm black. Very proud to be. I played a goddamn metal band for how many years?
Well, that's not even mentioning the fact that rock and roll evolved from, and one of the greatest rock musicians of all time in Jimi Hendrix was black.
Yeah.
And wasn't he a who did he play guitar for before he went solo? Wasn't Chuck Berry, was it?
I forgot.
I know he played in James Brown's band.
Did he really?
He played in James Brown's band.
Oh, look, like damn near everybody played in James Brown's band. Like Jimi Hendrix, Bootsy Collins, like I hope. Yeah, I mean, James Brown gave a whole lot of like black guitarists and bass players their first gig. I mean, but I don't know. It's been because I remember like starting in the 80s, like radio got more like as far as playlists and everything got a lot more segregated. Because there was a time where they played where you'd have Motown on the same station as the Beatles or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But in the 80s, things got really segregated. And then if you were a black artist and somebody like Lenny Kravitz, you got kind of lost in the mix, like him, like Living Color, Tracy Chapman.
Yep.
People like that just kind of got lost because the kind of now segregated black radio stations were playing, hip hop, and then they were playing like Michael Jackson or Prince or New Edition or stuff like that, and they didn't really know what to do, so they just, I mean, if Living Color did a song that sounded like something you'd play on the black radio station, they would play that, but like the other stuff, they were just kind of like, I don't know what to do. And
I think probably the only thing that would have done that I can think off the top of my head was open letter to a landlord.
Yeah, and then and so a lot of like if you didn't do what fit in the format of those stations, you just kind of like they didn't know what to do with you. They didn't know how to handle you. And then so when it came to like award show like the BET Awards or the Soul Train Awards or whatever, they didn't get invited because they didn't really have an award to give them, even though they should have gotten one just for selling a bunch of records. Right. But they didn't really have a category to put them in, or because like if you had like if it's the BET Awards, you had like best rock group, you'd have like Living Color and nobody else, right, in the category at the time. But and it was just so that they just didn't. And there's a guy named Gary Clark Jr. now, is another guy, and he is outstanding guitarist.
He's a fantastic guitar player.
Yeah, and so he's another one. He's just kind of. They don't know what to do with him, and so you don't hear him on like the quote unquote urban radio stations because they don't know what to do with him. And whereas you just play the damn song. I mean, it's I mean, but it's just this is also this is kind of the detriment of having these predetermined playlists and things like this for these radio stations because I don't know if you're familiar with Donnie Simpson.
Yeah, of course.
Not familiar.
He's been in the DC area for a long time, but he started in Detroit.
Yeah,
and he became like a really big radio DJ.
Yeah, DJ and VJ too, also, right? I think also VJ as well.
Yeah, and but he was like back when he started the DJ, you just played whatever the hell you wanted to play. And so he was one of the first people to play the Elton John record in the United States. Because somebody tipped him off to it and said, "Man, you should listen to this." And he listened. I think it was Benny and the Jets. And somebody tipped him off to it, and he listened to it. He's like, "Man, this is great." And so he started playing it on his station. And that's what happened. That's how Elton John got over in the United States. And then like Elton John ended up coming over and like sitting in with him for a while because but that's how radio used to be. You would get your music collection, you would bring it to the station. And you would play the stuff that you thought was hot. And now, but the last couple of decades, it's all like predetermined playlists.
Yeah, I'm just saying shit like that really just bothers me though. Like the idea that black music, what's black music? Hip hop and R&B? No, it's we're not a monolith, dude. I mean, we like rock, we like hip hop. I love all of it. I love hip hop. I love rock. I love metal. I love pop music. Love top 40. Love oldies. The shit like that this offends the shit out of me. And when I read that thing, I got so triggered. I tagged Rob, being like, "Rob, we gotta read this shit."
Oh yeah,
and there's going to be more of that. Have you heard Aaron Jones?
No, I have not.
He's pretty good. He's a rock singer, relatively new as far as I know. He's a black guy, but he's really good. He's a songwriter. I think he's a guitarist. It's Aaron, Ayron Jones. He's pretty good.
Okay, gotta check that out then.
Yeah, he's got some pretty good stuff. I think you guys will dig it. And then you've got the lead singer to Seven Dust.
My boy LaJohn Witherspoon. LaJohn, top 5 band all time for me.
and they're awesome live. I've seen them 3 or 4 times live.
I've seen them 10 times. Seen them 10 times.
They kill it every time I say. And they sound as good now as they did 20 years ago when I saw them the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. And
by the way, people probably wonder why we're talking about music while wrestling is on. Well, this match is shit. Dino Bravo and Ken Patera.
And this is why we're talking about Black Rock music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
instead of Ken Patera and Dino Bravo.
Exactly. Because look, at this point, they were both cooked. At this point,
so the most entertaining thing about this match is Frenchie Martin outside waving the flag. Real quick, Dino Bravo, because there won't be much opportunity to talk about him really in the future, because he didn't really do much other than a couple feuds here and there, and bench pressing and stuff. His death still remains one of the biggest mysteries in history of wrestling deaths. Died in March 10th, 1993. He was found shot at the age of 44, hit by 11 bullets in the head and the torso in his Quebec home. His alleged role in illegal cigarette smuggling in Canada is popularly believed to have led to his unsolved homicide. According to Bret Hart, Dino Bravo was confided to friends shortly before his days of death that he knew his days were numbered. He was a nephew by marriage of Montreal crime boss Vic Contrani, and believe the authorities to be involved in his organization for some time. I watched also the Dark Side of the Ring episode that aired on this. Very fascinating stuff. Very tragic.
Mercifully, this one was over quick.
Yeah. So Frenchie Martin was his manager for a little bit here, and then Jimmy Hart takes over. Why that transition happened. I wonder why that happened. I'm curious.
One, Frenchie Martin was terrible. Two, Dino Bravo was a guy. I can't say they didn't try with him. I never gave a damn. I never cared.
He was all right. I didn't hate him. He was all right, but he didn't really last long. So
no, he really wasn't long. But you look at it, and again, I'm doing this Big Four project that I'm doing, and he's on every single show. Like somehow or another, Dino Bravo makes his way onto every single show, and you're just like, now you're starting to feel, again, like I said with Rick Rude earlier, you feel like the guy was there forever, and it was only a couple of years. But because they definitely tried to find a lane for him, they kept putting him out there and kept putting him on TV.
His best work was actually with Greg Valentine. Honestly,
the
Dream Team.
Yeah,
his boss man.
And
brand new too.
Boss.
Brand new. He had just gotten there like months before this, and Impact immediately Freedom and Hogan out the shoot.
And man, his career story was just wild, because he was 1 week he was a jobber in the Jim Crockett NWA, and some kind of, I guess, between Dusty and Jim Cornette, and they figured out that, wow, this guy can really move around and he can really do some stuff. So they immediately, he was a jobber, and then he disappeared off of television, and then when he came back, he was Cornette's bodyguard, Big Bubba Rogers.
Yeah, Big Bubba.
Yeah.
And so his career just changed entirely, like almost overnight.
I would argue this was Hogan's best non-title feud. Bossman against Hogan. This was a fantastic feud. How they did this and you'll see the highlights. They'll show the highlights at the end of this match. When Hogan and Boston went on the Bo Love show, gets sprayed with mace in his eyes, and then they cuff him to the railings. And to me, that's a massive childhood moment for me too, especially because seeing Hogan that vulnerable was really crazy to watch as a child.
So the one where he dropped the ball down on him, who did he do that to? He had the ball and chain, and he dropped it down on their gut or on their chest or something. Boss Man did. Who did he do that to?
I don't know. It was Hogan. I don't know. It was Hogan.
Yeah, my memory of all that's a little bit fuzzy, but yeah, that was pretty horrifying and hard to watch as a kid.
Yeah, Jim Powers, part of the Young Stallions. That didn't last long though.
No, Jim Powers was a body guy with absolutely zero charisma.
Yeah,
great looking kid.
Not quite a jobber, but close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was that guy that give you just enough to think he might actually do it tonight and then not do it.
Yeah. Well, he was part of Young Stallions for about a year, maybe or so, and that didn't really work out much. Which was kind of shocking. I thought they would have done something together, impactful.
Well, again, it's not like they didn't try.
Yeah, Dino Bravo didn't try. Yeah.
I definitely think Paul Roma was the more charismatic of the two. Paul Roma's a guy I'll never understand how WWE never found more for him.
Yeah.
And, WCW ended up doing more with him than,
correct.
WWE ever did. I will always question making him a horseman, but
because
they at least found something more meaningful for the guy to do.
Where's Hogan? Yeah, they're building this Hogan Bossman thing out to shoot. Yeah, Vince 88 Vince was in his bag.
Oh. So I got SmackDown on, and all right, so Randy Orton joined SmackDown. He signed a contract to join SmackDown. He'd already given Jimmy an RKO, and he couldn't help himself. He gave one to Nick Aldis. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't.
That's cool.
So Randy,
I'm telling you, it's going to be Randy and Roman at 40.
You think so?
I keep saying Cody. I don't think they're doing Cody, and I don't think they do Cody Roman 2 this year, man. I really don't think they're doing it yet.
So who does Cody end up? Who do you think Cody's going to fight in?
I have no idea. I don't know. I think that will start to come more clear after the Rumble. I think whoever Cody's going to head to WrestleMania with, we're going to determine that in the Rumble.
Well, because I could see if we're talking crazy scenarios here. All right, if Priest does cash in the briefcase on Seth and hold on to the belt, I could see Cody and Priest, and then Seth and CM Punk, and then they could do Roman and Randy. That's a scenario.
See, CM Punk headlining WrestleMania makes sense now because you have 2 nights now you can work with.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be him and Seth on night 1.
That's the smart money.
I agree.
And because look,
that suit, green suit, is like
so good. I love the Doctor style.
He may not be the best manager of all time. He's my favorite manager of all time. Period.
He's so animated. I think he's over here. He's working the ref. He's distracting the ref while the boss man cuffs up Jim Powers. That's just great work.
I'm gonna say it again. He should be in the Hall of Fame, and it's a travesty he's on the Hall of Fame.
I thought Slick was in the Hall of Fame.
No, I thought we checked that, and it was not confirmed.
Well, I'm going to have to look into that because I specifically remember. You know what? I'm going to look right now while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
I'm going to look that up because I'm pretty sure I remember watching his Hall of Fame speech.
Look at Bossman here fucking wailing on fucking Jim Powers here. The nightstick. Bossman was fantastic.
No, he's not. You are correct.
Yeah, that is a shame.
Well,
he was part of the class action lawsuit against WWE regarding. He was part of the CTE.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he was part of the CTE suit a few years ago. So that's why they don't want anything to do with him.
Look at Jim Power fucking spitting all this shit up his fucking. Oh my god, disgusting.
Because when they introduced him as Big Bubba Rogers, though, that was such a great angle because he came in there because Baby Doll was going after Cornette, and he stepped in between them, and then Dusty came in there, and then Dusty just blasted him over the head with a wooden chair, and it just like splintered all over the place, and then he just like very calmly and casually just pulled the chair off of his head and threw it down like what? It's supposed to hurt or something?
Yeah, he just sells it great. Oh, this is Hogan getting beat down.
Yeah, this is what I meant. This is my childhood here. Literally my childhood.
Little EJ in tears right now, screaming for the Hulkster.
I was like, what the look at those kids. Look at those kids in front. Like shocking. Like what the hell? and of course Hogan keeps the so you wrestled earlier tonight without the thing on your wrist, and now it's back on your wrist now?
Right.
Make it make sense.
Continuity didn't matter in 1988, buddy.
But I will say 88 is my favorite Hogan year.
Yeah, I would say this was just about peak. I would say I held on with Hogan until, I graduated high school in 91. And at that point, I was just about too cool for Hulk Hogan. I was ready for something else. And by 92, 93, I had checked out on Hulk Hogan for a while.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because I thought Hogan without the belt really proved that he really was the man, because I don't need a title to be the top dog.
Yeah. Around 92, 93, I'd always been a bit of a work rate nerd. I always liked a really good catch-as-catch-can wrestling match. But as I got to be about 18, 19, 20 years old, I really turned into a work rate nerd. Mm-hmm. And what Hogan was doing just wasn't doing it for me. And that's why I gravitated towards guys like Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Shawn Michaels, Davey Boy Smith, guys who could go in there and have a good catch-as-catch-can wrestling match. And it didn't matter if it was entertaining. Like, I wasn't there to be sports entertained.
Yeah. I it took me a while to really appreciate the work rate guys. It took me probably to my mid-teens. I think Shawn Michaels was the first guy that really got me into really appreciating work rate wrestling. Bret Hart especially too, but
what match I think is a low-key underrated banger, and I forget which WrestleMania it was, whether it was 8 or 9. It was Shawn Michaels versus the Model, and the stipulation was neither one could punch the other one in the face.
That was 8.
It was 8. Okay, because you had the Model, you had the sexy boy, you had the boy toy and the Model, and the Model had to go out there and actually wrestle.
Yeah, and that was Model was actually a face at this point now too.
He was a face at that point in that match.
Yeah.
So I liked the dynamic in that match because they forced him to have to wrestle, and I knew both guys could really wrestle, and that's what I wanted to see. That's where I was, at that point in time.
But Jake, don't get in the ring with that snake.
Andre was so good here. Jesse's terrified for his life. This whole segment is awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Bobby's so good at this shit, man. Like, they're invested in this here. The acting is amazing, actually.
Yeah.
As good as Heyman is, he's not even in Heenan's orbit. And like you said, I love me some Paul Heyman.
Yes.
But Heenan was just there was nobody in his orbit.
No.
Because I always go back and forth when I do my top 5, but I think Heenan was the best as far as matches, as far as taking bumps from people and interfering and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, Cornette was the best at just getting heat.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because man, when he jammed his tennis racket in the Baby Doll's stomach, they wanted to kill that man.
Yeah, I mean, if I watched his stuff outside WWE more and really got to, I think I'd probably be even higher on Cornette, because his WWE work wasn't really I'll be honest, it wasn't his best work.
Oh no, I mean, and it was because because it's on YouTube, like the thing with Baby Doll where he jammed her in the stomach with his tennis racket.
I got to check that out. I got to check that out, seriously.
Yeah, because I mean that whole angle, because it started with that, and it looked real as hell too. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it did, and the way they sold it on commentary, and then and also I think Baby all talked about it once, like they sold the hell out of it, like just she laid there on the mat forever, and and when they carried her out of the ring, it was in such they weren't cavalier about it,
right?
And because I mean Cornette said at one point he was wearing a vest in the parking lot.
Yeah,
coming to the arena, right? Because they were on his ass. I mean, and so he was not afraid to be vile and disgusting.
Yeah.
And
he was fearless. Cornette was absolutely fearless when it came to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where I got my appreciation for Cornette was, I don't remember the year, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he won a Slammy for something. And the promo he cut after the Slammy, he went for what felt like 3 or 4 minutes without even hardly taking a breath. And he didn't repeat himself once. He just kept going and going and going. And just this whole rant came from this guy without taking a breath, without pausing, without air. I'm like, that guy's fucking amazing. Like, he can just talk and talk and never run out of stuff to say and just be. It was amazing. It's amazing. because I stumble over my words a lot, I'm very enamored with people who can string together sentences coherently, and it's just a thing.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Last, I guess, what's your thoughts on this event? We just finished it here. We're right in the thick of we'll get toward the end of 88. Last thoughts on this event. What stood out to you guys, DJ?
All in all, I thought it was fun. A couple filler matches I could have done without, Dino Bravo and Ken.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
The tag match was what it was. The Hogan match was fun. I think probably my favorite match on this card was Hogan and Haku, even though I liked the work that Jake and Rick Rude put in. I think at this point in time, the Hogan Haku match was a better one, more fun for me.
Mm-hmm. Rob?
Me, I just from a nostalgia sake, the Jake angle with Andre, because like I said, around that time, Jake was my favorite WWE wrestler,
right?
And now I wasn't as angry as Rick Rude I wasn't as angry with Rick Rude as my dad was. Okay, but, I mean, because look, I mean, but I love Jake, and I wanted Jake to win everything, and so for me, watching that, and it's funny because back then it was just for me, it was just I love the DDT and the snake and the snakeskin boots and all that, but now, as I've gotten older and actually watched and pay attention to him work in the ring, I got a whole newfound appreciation for him now.
Right. Now, to me, very few times this actually happens, where the big takeaway from this show had nothing to do with Hogan or Savage, like the top of the card. To me, this is about Andre and Jake. Because, I mean, obviously, it opens the show, and you close the show really with Andre in the locker room, trying to recover and figure out what the fuck happened to him in the ring with the snake and all that. Very few times you see Hogan not be the main, and he was kind of sort of still in a way, but to me, the takeaway was this is about Jake and the ascension and him going from Rude to Andre. That to me, that when I look at this pay-per-view, not pay-per-view, but this event, I look at, to me, the takeaway is it's just about Jake. Jake pissing off the Heenan family at this point, pretty much. So very few times you'll watch something in an event where Hogan is not the main draw or the main attraction. To me, it was about Jake and any impact, against both Rick Rude and then going to Andre. So, all right, guys, that's fun as always. Before we get out of here, you want to plug anything, DJ, first?
Jeff, you can listen to me and Rob on the Mindless Wrestling podcast, usually Saturday mornings. Anywhere you listen to your podcasting, any streaming platform you listen to it on, you can find us on there. Just look us up. Either look up the Chairshot Radio Network or look up the Mindless Wrestling podcast. That's us. You can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Mindless Pod.
All right. Rob?
And same thing. And you can find me on my own podcast, the Rob Genius podcast, every couple of weeks. And I have a little side thing I do now. It's called Wrestling with Data. And when there's something numbers wise that has kind of got my attention and in regards to pro wrestling, I do these little kind of short 10 to 15 minute episodes about it. Yeah. And so I just dropped one today about CM Punk coming back, and just some of the numbers behind it, and all that type of thing. So check that out.
All right, fellas, great job as always. We'll do this again. We'll hopefully get another one of these last ones, the 88, 11, November 88 edition. Hopefully before this year is over. So good job as always, guys.
All right, awesome. Had a good time, man. Thank you.
Absolutely.